Greetings everyone, it's Anishel, I hope you're doing well. So that's it, my RunPod is ready, the Simple Tuner optimization, so you can actually one-click start training, tons of utility to make you copy your files between your Windows or Mac to RunPod and optimize and make training. Training is not so bad, about 30 minutes for like your first training and decent result. And after that, you can go much higher with 2 hours training and tweak obviously your training setting, but and right now, let's get you started. So we're gonna get into that. I want to talk a little bit about RPG v5, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now jumping into Flux 1 with RPG v6. It really feels like Stable Diffusion 1.5 community back in the days. Very funny that we say that. Originally, a lot of, RPG v5 was mostly original content. The rest of the content, if it's not original sources, it was mostly what I've done on map painting. So I'll give you an example. My original sources will be me working on Unreal Engine to get like scene and setup and armor and stuff like that. And after that, I will do some map painting. So this, but not my still original content, but it's adapted or has been fine-tuned in some ways, so would help the training. But one of the sources I had is a lot of actual photo from my Dungeon and Dragon and LARPing days. So for example, a lot of like letter. You probably saw that in RPG v5. Letter was pretty good, so I kind of like, I don't have much on this, but like the stitches, the rivet, the paper also work a lot on that. So I was able to make very interesting, close-up screenshot of all of that. And also my father is a woodworker, and he kind of went crazy a little bit and, basically worked those grimoire. Is it the word in English, grimoire? So with the chain, the key, and all of that. So this one is a book, obviously. So kind of like really, really, you have to see it, but it's insanely nice. So having the ability to, to do macro shot, I have a really good camera. So being able to make those quality shots of many texture, I think that helped a lot getting V5 where it was. Now, jumping in Flux 1, the management of dataset is so much more fun. The fact that now we can run on 1024 pixel resolution, and the fact that most of my content was high definition with 4 megapixel, I think it's gonna help. It's gonna be a lot of fun. At the end of the video, because honestly this took me thousands of dollars to train, at the end of the video you can support me, not in money. I'm looking for enthusiastic prompter right now, from beginner to advanced. I am building a platform trying to succeed in that field. And well, if you're interested to participate in the beginning of a small startup doing this, you're more than welcome to help us. Again, no money involved. We're really looking for expert and enthusiastic prompter. Okay, so let's jump on RunPod. So let's go into it. So I am in my RunPod interface right now. So you get your account. It's pretty straightforward. The guys at RunPod are crazy supportive. Their Discord is very fast, so you're gonna like it. You go to your pod basically, and you will deploy. You see, I have a bunch of them running and training as we speak. And you click on deploy. You're gonna take this machine here. So 30 minutes gonna cost you about $1.50. You can go lower actually. I haven't experimented a lot, but I assume the A40 or even the RTX at 69 cents will actually probably do a decent job. But then again, you may have to tweak a little bit. But for now, as soon as I have better tweak to run a smarter one, I'm gonna give that to you. But right now you're gonna train high resolution on 124, and like I said, about $1.50 for your training or so if you do a 30-minute. Expensive a little bit right now. I'm gonna try to reduce that. And so I'm jumping on this one. You're gonna edit your template. Very straightforward actually. You have your environment variable. I put root and 31337. You can put what you want. And basically here it's gonna simply let you the ability to connect to the machine and copy all your file through your web interface, and also have it completely synchronized between your computer and the RunPod. So honestly, it's very useful. And the rest of it is very straightforward. You have your TCP port and your exposed TCP. Honestly, you don't have to do anything. You just have to, actually not even set override and click start. And it's gonna launch your RunPod. Now, because the pod has everything, and I really mean it, everything in it, I'm gonna just call it H400 because it's going to be the fourth instance running right now. So because it has everything, it takes a little bit of time to install. I mean, almost 2 minutes. And that's because I really install all the dependencies that normally when you install Flux One, you're gonna have to call in pipe install or these dependencies. Can be a little bit, long. Also, you may pull, version that change as the project evolve, so fast. So this one will actually give you the proper old version that are tuned for that version of Simple Tuner. So, as much as I can, I'm gonna optimize that. It's running on Simple Tuner branch release, and this branch will be, the one I'm working with. There's a small fix that I done on the save webhook, really deep in the files itself. I can actually show you very quickly here. So in Simple Tuner, in the helper, in the webhook, in the handler here, I did a small, not the handler, I'm sorry, is the training and then the save webhook. So a small edit, helping from the Simple Tuner folks that fix it so it can run on Config UI. So obviously a really good thing that you want. So that's it. Let's see if it's, I'm gonna speed up the video just so you don't have to wait for the run. But like I said, I mean, it's almost done. So like I said, it's about that time. So let's just wait a little bit and there you go. All right, so today was much longer, it took about 5 minutes. I don't know if there's some kind of provisioning because sometimes I'm launching, it gets way faster. But anyway, it's gonna save you time. I mean, the time is gonna manually put command in it, especially if you're not, familiar with command or Unix and Linux command, you're gonna save those 5 minutes anyway. Right, so we have it now. What we're gonna do first is prepare our computer to exchange file between our RunPod and our Windows or our Mac. So you just go to syncthing, really nice, neat. Some of the RunPod have that, by default. You're gonna download it for your Mac or your PC, and when it's gonna launch it, it's gonna kind of run that, background terminal, and it's gonna let you connect locally to a web page that looks like that. So the first thing to prepare, once you have it installed and you're able to look at it, you can name your computer because you can have like a weird device ID, so you can name your computer here. You're gonna see later it's quite useful to find yourself and make sure you're not in the wrong page. But you're gonna prepare your folder. So those are example of validation image. We're gonna come to that. This is a default set that I took from and adapted a little bit. But if you go on your computer, what you want to do is to create 3 folders. One folder named configs, empty. Another named dataset, where you're going to put your image and your asset in it for your training. And finally, one folder named output. Because I'm running multiple training sessions, I have multiple output folders, so I can know which RunPod is sending me their files. But in your case, if you're starting with one, just name it output and that's it. So the first thing you want to do is to create and link those folders, basically. So you click add folder, you name the folder, like say config, for example, and you simply go into your folder, which should be empty. Mine is mine has a lot, we're gonna come to that, but yours is gonna be empty when you start, and you simply paste it here and you will say save. Obviously I already have one, so it won't let me do, but your case is gonna be the first time and you're gonna let you save, like if the folder was named differently, you will get it here. So you have it, you will get config, you do the same for your dataset, and you do the same for your output folder on your computer. The next step is going to be to link your RunPod with your computer. So if you go to your RunPod, you're going to be able here to actually connect to it. So when you click connect, you're going to have a web interface and you're going to have a SSH terminal for it. Again, don't be too much stressed. The command you have to put are really easy. So let's link the device first. We're gonna start our RunPod, and we're gonna type our user that we did put in, the environment, the variable root and 31237 in the case of if you use the demo one, or the basic one, and I'm in. So the first thing is I don't want the default one. I'm not interested in that. So you can remove it and have it there. Now I'm gonna name it just so I'm not completely lost in the setting itself. So I'm gonna call it H400 because that's the 4th RunPod running right now. And I'm gonna connect and link those 2 computers. So if I go into my main computers, I'm gonna click on the identification link here. I'm I'm gonna copy, and I'm gonna go into the RunPod site. I'm gonna add remote, and we're gonna put the device ID, and we're gonna say this is the power computer. This one. There you go. Now it's trying to reach my computer. On the other side here, we're gonna do the same. So we're gonna do the identification, click copy, and we're gonna go here, add remote device, put the ID, and we'll go with the computer. And at that point, it's trying to discover each other. So it may take a little bit of time. Oh, actually, maybe not that much. So connected here and connected here. So now both computers are able to talk to each other. Now, we don't have any folder sync right now. So that's what we're going to start doing. So let's actually start a new terminal and use whatever terminal you're interested in. I'm using Terminus, I love it. What you're going to do is you're going to go to your RunPod and you're going to, copy your SSH setting configuration here. If you don't know how to set up a SSH key and all of that, it's not that bad, honestly. I could make a small video about it, but yeah, if you haven't set up that before, we need to do that. And that's going to be in your secret, and you basically just put your SSH key. It enables you to get in straight away into the RunPod. So if I'm going on here, I just click to my SSH, connect to it, I say yes, and I put my password in it, and that's it. I am in my RunPod. And it will get you straight into Workspace Simple Tuner, and it will also automatically activate your Python environment with everything installed. So again, you just save tons of time by doing so. So what I want to do here, well, if you look at the folder of Simple Tuner, there's really honestly 3 folders that you're interested in: the config, dataset, and the output, because, well, that's where the action is going to be. So we're going to console like the config folder, and mostly this is the folder we wish to adapt. So I'm going on my computer, I'm going to go here and say edit, and then I'm going to go into sharing, and I'm going to target the computer. So here's what I'm doing is I'm saying I want to share my folder to my RunPod computer. So I'm going to click save, and what's going to happen is in the RunPod, you're going to get the request, do you want to share the folder? And the answer is yes, absolutely. And it's the folder config, but the path here want to be my RunPod, because mostly I want around the computer to write into this folder. So I'm going to put basically my configuration path. Now, small details, very important here. In my case, because I already have a bunch of config files and all of that, I want my config to go from my computer to the RunPod. In your case, for the first time, your folder is going to be empty. So you just click save and you're good to go. The file is going to go from your RunPod to your computer, and you can start editing them live here. So you just click config and you just edit your stuff. You save, you close, and boom, it's already replicated on your RunPod. So everything talks to each other in real time. In my case, because I don't want the RunPod to overwrite my config, which took me a while to set up, I'm going to simply type remove recursive. You will see we're going to do that for the cache later, but I simply always do it, and then do. So I empty the folder because I want to make sure that he will take my files and not take the RunPod files in that case. Again, hopefully I'm not making this too much complex, but the idea here is that I want to copy files between one to the others. Now they're syncing, between each others. So if I go back to my config here, good ls, and boom, all my files from my computer just got loaded up on my RunPod. Nothing else to do. You see a little bit the advantage of that. And if I go on here and I make an edit, let's say I'm creating a new config file, I'm going to name it 44. And what's going to happen here is that if I do a cat on my config files, again, don't worry, you don't have to do all of that. I'm just showing very quickly. And you're going to see that my version now is at 43, which is bad demonstration, Andrea. Let's actually click resync here. Oh, it was syncing, my bad. So just sometime, it takes a little bit while you have to click resync, especially in your, if you're running floor, you may have to wait just a little bit of a second. So let me do that again, and cat. You should have it now. Deploy version 44. There you go. So you got the idea. It's really nice. Make all your configuration morning and you're happy. So now let's do that for the other folder. The other one we want is output, is going to be where the model and all the validation file is going to be. I'm going here, going into my output, which is named, at the folder themselves. So actually, I'm going to add the folder. I didn't do that on my computer because it actually didn't even existed. So I'm just going to name my output file here on my computer for 400. In your case, you can name it output. That's very correct. And I'm going to go here and say on my computer, that's going to be the H400 folder where I want all the RunPod information to get to me. And well, actually I should have click sharing and send it to the H400 computer. And here you go, you get your request. Simply cut and paste your output folder. There you go. And you have mapped the output folder. And now the last one is going to be your data set. And you're going to go edit, sharing, push that to my RunPod. And again, same thing here. Oops, sorry. City data set with an S. Nope, all right, Y. CD, sorry, I just changed folder. All right, so CD data set with an S. And then I'm gonna copy this here. And I'm gonna go into my data set, edit, sharing. I'm sorry, I already done that. H400, yes, add it. And there you go, data set. So all of that has been connected, they're syncing to each other, and they're completely working. Now, let's take a look a little bit at our RunPod. So like I said, when you're gonna get into it, you will see Workspace Simple Tuner. If you want to go up higher in your hierarchy of folder, you type cd space ... and that's gonna let you go higher. If for whatever reason you get stuck into a folder or you're in panic or you have no idea what's going on, just type cd workspace. You can click tab, by the way, which autocomplete, and then you're gonna go back to your environment. And since your Python environment is always as active, you're not gonna have to do anything else. So let's go to the Simple Tuner. ls, you see I'm in the right place, I'm happy. What next I'm gonna have to do? Well, you're gonna have to have a Hugging Face API key. Again, if you don't have that, I'm gonna make a separate video out of that. It's very simple, very straightforward. Once you have to create an account, and the reason is you're gonna have to go to the Flux dev repository and accept the term of agreement. That's necessary to do that. If you've never done that, again, join my Discord if you want, but it is excessively easy to do. So once you have done that, you're basically gonna have a command to type, which is this: Hugging Face -CLI space login. So I'm gonna put that in the README. It is in the README actually. Let's just make sure it is in the README. So if we go into the pod and I want to deploy one, well, not this one, this one. Change template. Let's go with this one and the README. So normally it should tell you, I don't. All right. Oh yeah, I'm doing it. Type Hugging Face CLI login. That's exactly what we're gonna do here. Enter. It's gonna ask you for your key, and that's the key you're gonna have, taken on the website. You simply paste it, and then token as Git. I put no for now. It's gonna make your life much easier. And that's it. You have now your setup ready to work and you're very happy with it. Good. So now that we have that, we'll log it in. We're basically ready to just start training. So bash train.sh. That's what you have to do. Simple as that, nothing else. As soon as you're going to do that, your RunPod is going to start training the output, and all of that's going to appear in your output here. Let's just start it for the fun of it. There you go. Boom. And this process starts. So at that point, this is going to collect and download things. The first time is going to take a little bit more time. If you're training multiple data sets or you've done it multiple times, it's going to go straight away and be very straightforward. Because again, all the Python library and everything has been installed. You're not going to end up with some weird behavior or some error or whatever login command you haven't pulled, or someone changed their repository and you pull a version that is not compatible with Simple Tuner anymore. All of that's not going to happen. So again, it's a lot of time, so I'm just going to speed up that part of the video, and we're going to see what is the last two things we need to do to get things running. There you go. And at that point, you will simply hit don't visual my result because you're going to have your validation folder and you're going to click step and boom, you're started. Now, this one take 3 hours because I went crazy a little bit on the setting, but this training has started. Now, if you take a look at our RunPod folder, if you go on the HK400, you're going to see that it started populating my folder. So already is syncing all my output to my computer and I have nothing to do. So that's it. You have a training. It started. Let's take a second to talk about the config files. So right now the config I have is a little bit intense. It is a 10,000 maximum step. You should start with 1,000 or 2,000. And I'm going to give some update of the config. I also clean up the config files that Simple Tuner has. So the things you want to be interested in is the model that target, from Hugging Face. Your learning rate is going to vary between, 1E, which is kind of like the exposant, I don't know the word in English, power, I think, 1 to the power, whatever, and -4, -5, -6, the lower you go, the higher you go, the more fine-tuned it's going to be. The trained batch size and all of that. But honestly, don't worry too much. We're going to share, if you join the Discord, if you join the Simple Tuner Discord also, there's tons of great resources, but you want to play with this a little bit. You just also can paste all of that in ChatGPT and ask, hey, what those settings are and what do you advise me to play with, etc. And you're going to get tons of support on that. So starting with this, you will be able to reduce this and some parameters, but that's mostly it. The way I work is every time I run a config, a training session, I give it a number, a unique numbers, and I simply duplicate these files in here. So if I see that the training was really good, I'm able to go back to this one and say, what did I set up? What did I tweak? What did I change versus this one here? So you can see I'm in polynomial. Here's I am in constant. So I tweak a little bit. I am in 5E-4 instead of 1E. So I'm able to, remember what was done. Another files that you're going to play with is the multi-data backend. This one, honestly, again, I just name it here. It's because the RunPod folder is going to populate with this ID. So if you take a look at my H400 right now, who's populating my computer, you're going to see here that it's using config H043. And when I'm going into my config UI, what I does is that I name them in the same way. That is what the Skaven look like, by the way, which is pretty cool. And that's important because if you go into your validation, you will see that the validation give you some insight, but it's not like super good looking thing. So this is a Skaven. So you can see that, it's really very cartoonish if you want, if in that case. And if you look at the result, it's obviously much better what you're going to be able to do in Confi. But I do name it the same way here. So you can see that this was my 2000 step for config files 38. This way I'm able to know exactly, oh, I really love that result. That basically came from, that checkpoint with that folder. So I simply rename these when I get on my computer to track, this is version 041 of the config, step 2000, and that's how I'm able to, track and optimize things. It's just simpler way to get your thing done. So in the config itself, if the multi-backend JSON, I'm running on 124 image. If you go down, you just put 512, and you're gonna train faster. So I'm still beginning fine-tuning everything. So we'll see for my dataset what I like, but you can do whatever you want for your dataset. And the last thing is the user prompt library. This will be simply a bunch of prompt you want to run on the validation. I took one that was available. I tweak it a little bit. So to be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time of analyzing the prompt. You can play with it, but basically it's going to generate your validation image, or you can put none if you don't want any. But it's honestly very useful because you can see if you have broken the model. So you can see here that I'm not really affecting too much the other part of the model, but I definitely have my training of my Skaven starting to get a good training basically, which is what I'm interested in. And in that case also I think I tweak a little bit the armor, so we don't see we start seeing here a little bit the armor style and the variation. I think on this one I have some weapon also in that training set, so we should see some improvement in the weapon. But again, that's very, very early on. This one is great. This one is a little bit better. But anyway, you get the idea, you get a picture. Mostly that's about it. So it's as simple as that. Hopefully you're gonna save tons of time, you're gonna like it, and you're gonna love the experience and what to do with it. That's it. Now for the little conclusion of how you can help me, there's a Discord group you can join, and basically it's a product I'm currently developing. I'm really early stage of it. We're like 3 people working on it. But mostly it's give you full unlimited access to prompting, and the more you prompt, the more it helped me fine-tune the model, the more it helped me structure it. Ultimately, that platform is gonna help AI expert. It is an enterprise platform. It's running on Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Office, Copilot, and it's deployed within Microsoft Marketplace. So enterprise can pay with their Azure credit or their Mac agreement. But mostly the beauty of it is that as prompter or as expert in AI, we're able to design workflow and design process and have company pay us or pay you to use these workflow, and they are encrypted, so they cannot really reverse engineering, but basically you can get paid for supporting a company who want to adopt AI and make AI evolve in their company. So basically the way it works is that you will get a free access, unlimited, to become a workflow creator or a prompt artist, and mostly here's going to be the ability, so the community is starting to generate some really cool prompt, and after that you're going to be able to generate your own prompt, and you have a bunch of style you can play with that I keep improving. And I'm going to pipe also the LoRa. It's running on Pro because it's enterprise and we're paying for it, but it's great, like very, very cool stuff. It's really at the beginning, and after that you can play with the workflow, which is really where the magics come. So for example, I have a bunch of character sheet for my role-playing game here, so you can see create the character sheet, the summary, and it's very fun actually. You just go on, execute workflow, 200 world in, not say Diablo 4, let's say in, I don't know, Lovecraft, dark universe, mix with medieval fantasy. Here we go. And there you go. Generate. So it's gonna start generating my document, depending on the complexity. You can design your workflow. They are pretty fun to design. It's very easy. You make transformation and you say, this is the briefing, this is how you should build the character list, this is how you build your race, etc. So the template is what the company is going to be able to run. We have template for finance, we have template for other stuff, but I mean, you can build the template you like to build, whatever you want to build, and this is what they run basically, and they only have to make the prompt. Can also support image, so we have like marketing persona for marketing, which you can design those profile. We have like safety risk, who's doing an analysis of a house and everything that is risky, so you just like take a screenshot of the house and it make kind of like a detailed analysis of risk and safety for the location. But if you take a look at our documents, the workflow is completed here, and that's it. That's my Lovecraft Eldritch kind of universe mix between dark and stuff. And if I go back to my previous one, what's really interesting is after that you can apply style transfer. Actually, I'm going to do it just to show here. Let's actually do a style transfer. I'm going to use this one, which is pretty cool. So what's going to do is it's actually going to follow your instruction and redo your document, entire document, create a Bible or one-shot quest for role-playing game and whatnot, and re-render all of that in the art style that you have asked. So Will is doing it actually. Oh, it's done. So now much darker universe, and he's still doing the character, or he's done this character here. So you can see like much darker, and that was the default one, which is a little bit bad because you have this here, etc. But if you go into this one, now you have a little bit more interesting artwork, and you can do tons of them. If I just show you some that I have done that I love, this one here. So you can see like dark version, you can see more this version. It's really playing with it and creating really great stuff. I think we have some interesting one here, which is like location. You can see like very interesting like building and location artwork. If we go with this one, you get something new. And if you take a look, it really respect the same structure here. If you look at the building and the way you have the two towers, if you play with it, now it gets the two towers and the same here. So it will follow your asset in an interesting way, overall. And that was for the Creative Bible. This one's a bit more advanced. I love this one here. It is so insanely cool in terms of details and quality. So you can do really interesting stuff with it, and hopefully you're gonna have fun. So the idea here, this is just really gaming, but we have also like I said, safety, balance sheet, even diagram summary where you can actually upload a visual diagram, and it's going to make the software analysis of the front end, the business layer, the back end, and all of that. So tons of stuff. Again, no money is involved, absolutely looking just for passionate people who love prompting, and that's it. It was a little bit long, it feels like a pitch, I'm very sorry, but yeah, if you want to help me, that's the way to do it. Finally, so next video we're going to talk about dataset, how we can improve dataset and make it much easier to prepare your dataset, and probably some supporting video on how to create your Hugging Face key, or in the comment I will propose like how to do it if I'm sure there's some video doing it. Anyway, thank you very much for the time. It was a long video, sorry about that. Hope you're gonna have fun. Happy training.